The Xiaomi Mi 10 Ultra is a big smartphone in every dimension. In fact, it's not far off from the Samsung's recently released Galaxy Note 20 Ultra. The Mi 10 Ultra is heavy and can be cumbersome if you don't have big hands and deep pockets. Xiaomi went with a glass sandwich design with aluminium rails and carved glass on both sides. On the front, there's a full-size display with a punch hole in the top left and a speaker grill above the glass. The Mi 10 Ultra is not IP certified, which is unfortunate. Other phones at this price point, particularly those from Apple and Samsung, offer protection from water and dust. Xiaomi opted for a 6.67-inch Full HD Plus 120Hz OLED panel instead of a Quad HD Plus screen. At this price, I don't think this is a problem given there are many amazing tech that's packed into the device. The panel is smooth and fast as well as vibrant with deep contrast. If you don't like the excellent adaptive color setting, you can change it in the comprehensive display settings menu. Brightness was quite good even under direct sunlight. The Mi 10 Ultra was easily viewable. The Xiaomi Mi 10 Ultra skips the fresh Snapdragon 865 Plus in favor of the regular 865. Either way, the Xiaomi Mi 10 Ultra is very fast. I didn't have a single performance problem in my week with this device. I played lots of games, took many photos and did a lot of multitasking. I just couldn't get the Mi 10 Ultra to stutter. I think it's fair to say that whatever you do on your phone will be light work for this device. It comes with 8, 12 or 16 GB of RAM depending on the variation. Camera wise, the Mi 10 Ultra comes with a quad camera setup. There's the main 48 megapixel main camera, a 20 megapixel ultra wide camera, a 12 megapixel portrait camera and finally a 120x ultra zoom camera. The Xiaomi Mi 10 Ultra takes punchy and contrast heavy images with a fair amount of dynamic range. This device seems to be able to capture white balance well. On dull days the phone took dull photos, on bright days the phone took bright photos. The Mi 10 Ultra's biggest photography feature is its zoom functionality. Samsung offered 100x zoom in the S20 Ultra, but the Xiaomi is offering 120x in the Mi 10 Ultra. I found the Mi 10 Ultra's night mode to be one of the worst I have ever encountered on a flagship smartphone. It struggled with flares, captured very little detail and was overall rather disappointing. On the front there is a single 20 megapixel camera for selfie duties. The Mi 10 Ultra takes some decent selfies, but there is a fair amount of skin smoothing going on. Selfie portrait mode photos seem to look rather realistic. The Mi 10 Ultra's video is average at best. It's got 8K video at 24fps alongside the standard UHD 60fps mode. There's also a 960fps slow motion mode. On the surface, the Mi 10 Ultra's battery is an average size for this class of smartphone. It's a 4500 mAh cell in a device with 5 cameras, a power-hungry chipset and a big high refresh rate display. Xiaomi's software, however, works aggressively in the background, killing applications and optimizing power usage to deliver good battery life. The device charged from 0 to 100% in just 21 minutes in our testing. It includes 120 watt fast charging. It also comes with 50 watt wireless charging and 10 watt reverse wireless charging. The Xiaomi Mi 10 and Mi 10 Pro look very similar, with screens that curve at the edges and that are broken up by punch hole cutout cameras in the top left of the display. On the back there's a camera bump in the top left corner. These phones have a 6.67-inch OLED screen with HDR10+ support and a screen refresh rate of 90Hz to make content and motion look a bit smoother. The Xiaomi Mi 10 and Mi 10 Pro both run on the top-end Snapdragon 865 chipset paired with 12GB of RAM and 512GB of storage options. That chipset has an adjacent 5G modem. One of the most important features of the Xiaomi Mi 10 Pro is the 108-megapixel main camera, which takes fantastic pictures and supports 8K video recording like the Samsung Galaxy S20 series. The Xiaomi Mi 10 Pro has a 20-megapixel ultra-wide camera and 2 telephoto lenses. One of these is 8-megapixel and supports 10x hybrid zoom, and the other is 12-megapixel with 2x optical zoom, which is used for portrait mode. Pictures taken with the phone looks great and delivers great dynamic range and color accuracy. It also have a 20-megapixel front-facing camera, which is a pretty decent resolution for selfie snapper. It comes with 4500 mAh battery capacity. This phone has a 50 watt fast charging, 30 watt wireless charging and 10 watt reverse wireless charging, which lets you use the device as a wireless power mat for other devices. Xiaomi has a reputation for producing quality phones at affordable prices, and Xiaomi Mi 10 Pro 5G is another example of that. The Mi Note 10 Pro brings all the features of a top-end phone but without the top-end price tag. It's got a beautiful curved edged screen with a 6.47-inch Super AMOLED display. The colors really pop, max brightness is pretty high, images look textured and contrast is good. At the top of the screen there is a small teardrop notch in the center which houses the front-facing camera. There is a Snapdragon 730G chipset here paired with 8GB of RAM, which is a decent mid-range processor that's optimized for gaming. The headline feature of the Xiaomi Mi Note 10 Pro is its camera. The 108-megapixel main sensor is the first of its kind on a smartphone in the world, and it's such an important part of the phone's identity and Xiaomi's marketing strategy. There are 5 lenses on the back. The main camera is 108 megapixel. An optical image stabilizer for the main lens is on board, as is a flash. The main rear camera is joined by a 12 megapixel sensor with 2x telephoto lens for the portrait mode, a second telephoto snapper, this one with 5x zoom and 5 megapixel sensor for zoom shot, another 20 megapixel ultra wide camera, and finally a 2 megapixel macro snapper. The main 108 megapixel camera takes absolutely incredible shots. Forget the iPhone 11 Pro, Huawei P30 or even Realme X2 Pro. This phone takes some of the best looking pictures you will get from a smartphone. Everything here is on point, colors are rich, contrast is great and images are bright. Also you can record 4K video at 30 fps. On the front, the Xiaomi Mi Note 10 Pro has a 32 megapixel camera housed in the teardrop notch, and it comes with various filters and features. Selfies looked pretty vibrant and high quality. The Xiaomi Mi Note 10 Pro's battery capacity is 5260 mAh, which is a lot bigger than what you get in most modern smartphones. It also supports 30-watt fast charging. The Xiaomi Mi Note 10 Pro is a powerhouse in so many ways, and we can definitely recommend buying this phone. The Xiaomi Poco F2 Pro brings back the pop-up front-facing camera, which we haven't seen much of in 2020 compared to 2019. This ensures the 6.67-inch AMOLED screen isn't broken up by any notches. Poco F2 Pro features an almost completely bezel-less display, with the company quoting an 87.2% screen-to-body ratio. It offers 180Hz touch sampling for better gaming. The display does deliver HDR10+ support. The chipset in here is the Snapdragon 865 paired with 6 or 8GB of RAM depending on the variation. This is the top-end processor available to Android phones at this time, and that should ensure great processing speeds. You will have no trouble playing games in this device. The Poco F2 Pro is also a 5G phone. Poco F2 Pro is made for the gaming enthusiasts in mind, with a massive cooling system, a large multi-layer graphite, and 9 built-in temperature sensors. It intelligently predicts and controls its internal temperature, ensuring sustained peak performance even when you are playing games for long hours. There are 4 rear cameras on the phone, consisting of a 64 megapixel main, 5 megapixel telephoto, 13 megapixel ultra wide and 2 megapixel macro snapper. But there are a few camera features that might impress, including 8K video recording and a macro shooting mode on the telephoto lens, as well as the dedicated macro lens. It can record 8K video at 30 fps and 960 fps super slow-mo video at 1080p resolution. It sports a motorized pop-up 20 megapixel selfie camera on the front. The Poco F2 Pro features a 4700 mAh battery with 30-watt fast charging support that charges the phone fully in just 63 minutes. Xiaomi Mi 10 seemed to fit all the criteria of a premium flagship. The display could impress many people. This phone have a 6.67-inch OLED touchscreen with HDR10+ support and a screen refresh rate of 90Hz to make content and motion look a bit smoother. Screen curves at the edges, and there is also a punch hole cutout camera in the top left of the display. The Xiaomi Mi 10 used the top-end Snapdragon 865 chipset coupled with 12GB of RAM and 256GB of storage. That chipset has an adjacent 5G modem. One of the most important features of the Xiaomi Mi 10 is the 108 megapixel main camera, which takes fantastic picture and supports 8K video recording like the Samsung Galaxy S20 series. There's also a 13 megapixel ultra-wide camera, a 2 megapixel macro snapper and a 2 megapixel depth sensor. All of these different lenses work smoothly and delivers stunning picture quality. When capturing still images, target exposure is stable and accurate. Further, Xiaomi has improved the dynamic range over the last year's phones. It have a 20 megapixel front-facing camera too, which is a pretty decent resolution for the selfie snapper. Pictures are good enough for the price range. In terms of battery, the Xiaomi Mi 10 actually has the larger power pack than the Mi 10 Pro with a 4780 mAh battery capacity, so the Mi 10 will likely last a bit longer. It has 30-watt fast charging, 30-watt wireless charging and 10-watt reverse wireless charging, which lets you use the device as a wireless power mat for other devices.